Alright, thanks for watching. This video is going to cover how to rebuild a manual transmission, and more specifically the M5OD-R2 that's in my 1988 F-150. Now this is going to be a long video, but if there's somebody out there who's using this to help out their project, I'm hoping they'll appreciate the detail. This rebuild process is almost identical to an R1 transmission from a Ranger or Explorer, and the concepts are going to be the same for other transmissions like the Tremec T5 I rebuilt a few years ago. Does your transmission look like this? It's probably worth taking a few minutes to clean out some of the gunk before you bring it onto your workbench. This is a little specific to a four-wheel drive F-150, but first I had to take off the transfer case shift mechanism. Yeah, I know this isn't an impact rated socket, but I needed something with a thinner wall that could get to this bolt. The M5 is what's called a top-loaded transmission. This means the majority of the guts will be removed and installed out of a hole in the top. To start, remove the top cover. You'll see the shifting linkage is attached to this. We'll come back to this later, but keep it all together somewhere safe for now. Next, remove the tail housing. This is the four-wheel drive version. A two-wheel drive transmission will look a little different, but functions the same. Pry the indentation out of the lock nut. I just used an old damaged punch I had lying around. Now's a good time to cover how a transmission works. You can see the gears are free of the output shaft. The entire gear set will spin with the input shaft. Hubs are splined to the output shaft, and by engaging sliders on these hubs, specific gears can be locked to the output. By engaging two gears at once, it will lock the shaft from spinning, allowing the lock nuts to be removed. There's a splined seal on the output shaft that I'm not 100% sure what it does, but I think it has something to do with the transfer case. The other lock nut can be easily removed with an impact wrench. The rear countershaft bearing doesn't seem to be pressed on and comes off pretty easily. There's a heavy thrust washer underneath. The reverse idler gear assembly can be removed in one piece by removing this bolt on the side of the transmission. This will often be the most difficult part of the rebuild. The output shaft rear bearing is pressed on and most ordinary pullers cannot reach or have enough clearance. I think there is a specific tool made by Ford for this, but it's very expensive. Another option, which I've used before on an R1 transmission, is to cut the bearing and use a chisel to break the race in half. This time I decided it would be easier to make some custom jaws for my 3-jaw puller. Yeah, MIG welding would have been faster, but my MIG welder was out of gas. With the puller putting some pressure on the bearing, add heat on the inner race until it pops loose. Now we remove the output shaft reverse gear. Since 5th and reverse is the only synchro hub on the counter shaft, these are the only two gears that will be splined to the output shaft. Underneath, you'll find an ordinary spacer. Now I don't show it well in my footage, but I'm organizing all the parts in order on a clean surface so it's easier to remember how it all goes back together. Now remove the reverse countershaft gear. And for some reason, I spent an unusually long time inspecting the synchro teeth. Anyway, this gear will have a set of needle bearings underneath. This now exposes the fifth reverse synchro assembly, and the first brass synchro ring can be removed. This step can technically wait until later, but I started by removing the snap ring on the pivot arm. The synchro will need to be removed together with the shift fork, so the bolt that holds the shift fork rod must be removed. This is a clip retainer. It will simply lift off. Underneath you will find two half clips. Carefully remove them from the shaft. Now the synchro hub assembly, along with the shift fork assembly, can be lifted out together. Now you'll have the opportunity to inspect the teeth on the sliders and order all the needed parts. In my case, my fifth and reverse slider had very worn teeth, and the second slider was also starting to show some wear. Often, worn slider teeth are what cause a transmission to pop out of gear, so be critical here. The pivot arm still won't come out until fifth gear is removed, so start by removing the countershaft fifth gear. In case you're wondering why I started with the countershaft gear, let me explain. Gears have a helical cut to reduce noise and improve strength. This means the gears must rotate some to come apart. One gear will typically be free spinning on a shaft while the other is splined to the other shaft. Starting with the gear that is free spinning will be a little bit easier. Beneath the countershaft fifth, there is a split case needle bearing riding on a spacer. This spacer is indexed by a small notch and a BB. When removing the spacer, be sure not to let that BB go missing. The best technique is to use a small telescoping magnet to pull the BB away from the shaft. Leave the BB on the magnet to keep track of it until you put the transmission back together. Now you can safely lift out the output fifth, and with it out of the way, the pivot arm can be removed as well. Remove the 6 bolts holding the rear bearing retainer. Note that there is an arrow pointing up towards the output shaft. The F-150 uses a hydraulic throwout bearing which I hadn't removed yet, so it's next to come off. Remove the front bearing retainer. Take note of the orientation of the shim and the front seal. If you wiggle the input shaft, the front tapered bearing raise should pop out enough to grab it with a set of pliers. We'll need as much room as we can to remove the shafts, so loosen this bolt to remove the drip rail. Okay, somehow I forgot to record me pulling the shafts out, so I'm cheating here and reversing the footage of the install. I hope it still makes sense. I discovered I had to push the counter shaft out of its bearing to allow it to drop down a little. I could then separate the input shaft and the output shaft. The output shaft can then be carefully removed by tilting it back and lifting it out. Then remove the input shaft and then finally the counter shaft. Now with the transmission case bare, take the opportunity to give it one final soak in the parts washer. Due to technical issues, I had to split this video into 3 parts, but maybe that was for the better anyway. I mean, who wants to watch an hour video of a transmission rebuild? Check out part 2 to see how to rebuild the 3 shafts and prepare the transmission to be reassembled.